If you find yourself in matches actually forgetting many of the things you learned in training, I'm going to give you some things you can do and work on that will prevent this so that you're taking what you're doing in training and able to replicate that in matches and play better, be more consistent, and just be more of a standout player. That's coming up next. Before we jump into it, my name is Dave and this is Simply Soccer, where I am creating videos every single week to help you improve your game and stand out on the pitch. Again, a great way to do that is to get my free ebook Game Changer down below in the description. It is a 50+ page ebook, fully comprehensive ebook for free. That is my gift to you. Get that down below. Now let's jump into some of the things that are going to allow you to perform not only well in training, but also in matches. This is a problem many players have where they're really good in training, but they're not able to replicate those performances in matches. And so we're going to go over some things that are going to help you to actually be able to do both. Here we go. So we're going to get two obvious ones out of the way, but they need to be mentioned. And so going in reverse order with number 5 is your confidence. I don't care how good a player you are technically. If you do not have belief in yourself, if you do not have confidence, you are not going to be able to perform in matches. A lot of players don't do well in matches and they do well in training because in training they're confident, there's less pressure, and they're able to show more of what they can do. Where they get into matches, they start feeling the pressure. They don't know how to perform under pressure. They lose their self-belief and confidence. Players that are in my Complete Soccer Confidence program know the difference between being a player who goes into matches confident and ones who are not. And they go into their matches confident because they've learned how to do this. You can check that out down below as well. But you need to work on your confidence. It is a skill like anything else, like working on your ball control, working on your shooting. You know, it is a skill that you can work on, and I would really invite you to work on it if you want to make sure you're performing well in matches. Now, number 4 is something that will be a byproduct of improving your confidence, but it's remaining calm. A lot of players, again, when they get into matches, they panic, they lose their cool, they feel the pressure, and therefore make a lot of different mistakes. Again, improving your confidence will help you with this, but there are other things that you can do to keep your cool. For example, a lot of players, and I used to be this kind of player when I was a kid and I was younger, I would fall into this sometimes, where I'd make a mistake and beat myself up for the rest of the match instead of keeping my calm, bouncing back, and getting back into the game. You have to be able to keep yourself tuned in, to remain calm and not let your emotions get the best of you, or to channel your emotions in a way that helps you perform better. So before we move on, if you're enjoying this video or it resonates with you, hit that like button. And now we're moving on to number 3, which is another obvious one, but it's repetition. If you are just not getting it done in the matches and you're able to do it in training, you probably need more repetition in certain scenarios, which will actually improve your confidence in those scenarios. So let's say in training, you're able to beat players one-on-one to a certain degree, but in matches, you're just struggling with it. You're forgetting what to do in those situations when the pressure is on. Work on that situation time and time again. Practice it over and over again at match speed, because what's going to happen is you'll develop muscle memory around that situation where you'll know what to do and how to act without needing to think about it. And that's where you want to get with most of your skills in football. But a lot of times the solution is just more practice, more training, more repetition, focusing in on those things that you're not doing so well in matches, but you want to do better in matches. The example I always use is if you're a striker and you just keep messing up your finishing in matches, practice your finishing often. After training, with your team training or any training you do, take an extra 15 minutes to work on your finishing time and time again, putting it to the corners, working on different scenarios, and I guarantee that will translate to more goals in your games. So number 2, and again, I already kind of mentioned this, but practice game scenarios at game pace. I'm sure you've heard the saying, the way you train is the way you'll play. And so maybe in training, you're able to do well, but you're kind of going through the motions. You're kind of tuning out. You're not taking it as seriously. But if you take it more seriously, you put yourself in game situations and scenarios, not just a drill that works on something and that doesn't really replicate the game or whatever else, but you're really doing small-sided matches. You really have someone trying to take the ball from you. You have to make that run, get into space, look over your shoulder, and do everything you would need to do in a game. If you take that seriously and do that to the best of your ability each time and try and get better and better and better, you will notice that you're playing better in your matches. Just always remember, you want to practice a lot of the time at game pace and in game scenarios, situations you'll find yourself in games, unpredictable situations where you need to react and choose a good option. That's what I would recommend you do. And number one is something that not a lot of players do, and that's why I'm throwing it in here. And it might sound strange because we're going to actually go away from using the ball or other football practices, and it's journaling. And the reason this is so crucial is because you can start journaling about your matches and about your training. You can talk about how it was going, where you made mistakes, what you did well. And the reason you want to do this is it gives you feedback. And through that feedback, you can then adjust your training. You can then be aware of where you need to work on things, what you're doing well, how you did it that time when you did it well versus that time where you kind of messed it up, what was going through your head, how were you feeling. It will actually give you a lot of information for you to work with and then apply to your game. There are a lot of players, including pros, who use this technique of journaling in order to improve themselves because it gives them direct feedback on what's going well and what they can improve on. And then just be honest when you are journaling. Being able to get your thoughts on the page of how your training went, what needs improvement, how the game went, maybe if you didn't do well, what do you need to focus on? What do you need to do repetitions towards? Journaling can be such a valuable practice. And again, not that many footballers do it. And I think they're missing out by not doing it. So by journaling, you'll just get more feedback, which you can then use again to adjust your training so that you are playing better in your matches. I recommend that you watch this video next after this one, where I go over how to receive the ball more in matches. The more you're getting the ball, the more influence you can have on the game depending on your position. And a lot of players aren't doing certain things, which is why they're not getting the ball that much, or they're getting it and they're losing it because they don't know how to receive it properly. So go check that out next.